This week's Sunday Night Football matchup pits two teams searching for their footing. Both the 49ers and Colts maintain playoff aspirations, but early season stumbles have put them behind the pack. San Francisco is expected to have a healthy, or at least healthier, Jimmy Garoppolo under center. That should ultimately prove to be good news for the skill position players in this offense, particularly the pass catchers. Indianapolis, meanwhile, could be dealing with a depleted wide receiver core once again with Paris Campbell, foot, hitting IR and T.Y. Hilton, quad, missing early week practice time. All things considered, we have an intriguing matchup for DFS purposes and are ready to put together our FanDuel single-game lineup. In case you're in need of a refresher, here are key scoring settings for FanDuel single-game contests. The point total for the MVP is multiplied by 1.5, but he doesn't cost any additional money like the captain in DraftKings Showdown contests. FanDuel's default scoring is half-point PPR and 4-point passing TDs, and there are no bonuses for 300-yard/100-yard games like on DraftKings. More FD single game, how to win a FanDuel single game contest. $60,000 budget, need at least one player from each team. MVP, 1.5x points, Airbay Jonathan Taylor, $15,000. Taylor and Nyheim Hines are numbers 1, 2 in the touch department for Indianapolis, but there is a gulf in between the two, 102 versus 41. Taylor was quiet in weeks 2, 3 but has been quite loud since then, scoring 18.9, 30.4, and 28.3 FanDuel points in successive weeks. Hess going to be active on the ground, through the air, and in the end zone, and his 5 scores pace the team. Hess also tied for third with 15 receptions. Hess an easy choice for our MVP here. Flex QB Carson Wentz, $14,000. Wentz hasn't been particularly great from a real-life or fantasy perspective, but he hasn't been that bad from the latter standpoint. Aside from his Week 3 dud against the Titans, 7.76 FD points, Hess averaged 18.9 FD points per contest. Hess in the midst of a strong 3-game showing, and has led the Colts to a 2-1 mark over that span. Dare we suggest Hess starting to find a comfort level in his new digs? An additional benefit of rolling with Wentz here is we don't have to take a stab at which Colts receiver will win this week's raffle. Additional consideration, if you ultimately decide you want to include a Colts receiver in your build, Michael Pittman Jr. is the logical pivot. He received 12 targets apiece in weeks 2, 3 but proceeded to follow that up with games of 8, 7, and 3 looks. The Colts will be without Campbell for certain, and if Hilton is slowed, or absent altogether, Pittman will be a very appealing option. More SNFDFS, DraftKings lineup flex WR Deebo Samuel, $13,000. Not only is Samuel second on the 49ers with 37 touches, but Hess averaging a whopping 15.4 yards every time he gets his hands on the rock. He is just 22 yards on his 6 carries, but he found pay dirt on one of them. When it comes to Samuel and Brandon Ayuk, it's not just about the yards per carry. Instead, it's the fact that they often receive manufactured touches in high-leverage scenarios and areas of the field. With tight end George Kittle, calf, sidelined, Samuel figures to be busy on Sunday night. Flex WR Brandon Ayuk, $8,500. There's no denying that something has simply been off between the 49ers and their second-year receiver. The snaps haven't been an issue since week 1. And we saw him start to come out of his shell with a 4,37,1 line in week 3. Hess received just 7 targets in the 2 games since, but it's important to remember Jimmy Garoppolo left midway through week 4 and missed week 5. Garoppolo is tentatively expected to play this week. Perhaps his return combined with a bye week will allow Ayuk and the Niners to get locked in. The Colts secondary is compromised following the loss of safety Julian Blackmon, Achilles, and defenses will naturally place an emphasis on containing Samuel. The stage will be set for Ayuk to re-emerge as a breakout stud. He just needs the opportunity to perform. Flex Airbay Nyheim Hines, $8,000. The aforementioned Hines is second on the Colts with 41 touches, but just as important is the versatility Hess demonstrated over the years. While he will never be confused for a between the tackles thumper, Hines has proven to be a threat to run for touchdowns as well as catch them. Hess only received 15 opportunities, carries plus targets, and 13 touches since week 3, so he'll be off a lot of radars for Sunday night. However, down Campbell, foot, and perhaps Hilton, quad, the Colts may be compelled to utilize their scat back to a greater degree. Alternate consideration, if you're simply not comfortable calling upon Hines on account of his lack of usage in recent weeks, tight end Mo Alley, Cox, $7,500, fits into the lineup and makes a compelling case thanks to 3 touchdowns over the past 3 weeks.